Hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Yaneli, and today we're going to be talking about Tyler Trinkets and aculednails Polish Joy collaboration. So this collection was sent to me as PR. I'm not obligated to talk about it, post about it, create content, or do anything with it, but I do want to showcase it with y'all. And if you don't know, aculednails is Jeremy, and Jeremy is I would consider established nail artist in the community. Oftentimes you see his work on Reddit, on Instagram, and he loves gradients. So Tyler Trinkets partnered with Jeremy to create this Polish Joy collection, and the collection is based on Jeremy's love about polish and the community, essentially. As he says here, the joy is always the point and the reason we started painting in the first place. So like, never forget why you started painting your nails initially. Like, oftentimes we get lost in the sea of trying to get brands' attention, trying to get PR, trying to work with brands, and so on and so forth, that we put this immense pressure amongst ourselves that kind of limits the fun of painting polish. So his reminder is always that remember who you are and where you started. This collection is a 5-piece ensemble consisting of mixed formulas, and it is not limited edition. It's here to stay. This whole collection is releasing April 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern time, and not only are you getting fun polishes, you're also doing a charitable deed, because $1 from every bottle sold goes to the Rainbow Railroad, which is a non-profit organization. It's also a human rights organization, and specifically assists in at-risk LGBTQ friends find safety. And without further ado, let's get into swatches. First up, we're starting with the Rainbow Connection, which is a clear base glitter topper filled with various size hex glitters and a metallic look, also scattered hollow in the mix. Now, per Jeremy, this is named after the long-running big-ass Rainbow Connection collab that he started with Murdo and Rosie, and it's everyone's colors and joy all together, uniting any manny you want. Now, this is a heavy topper in my opinion, where in the first coat you can kind of see how much comes out in the topper. So of course that got me curious, how buildable is this topper? So I did 3 coats, and I gotta say I definitely like the vibe of it in 3 coats. Of course it's still a topper, you're not gonna get full coverage. However, with 3 coats it kind of looks intentional, and I kind of like that more with 3 versus 1 coat, because usually I'm not a big fan of like heavy toppers, but I really enjoy it in 3. So there's that. Formula wise, very easy to work with. It wasn't thick at all. Of course, it's full of glitter, so it is going to dry down textured. For me, I only needed 1 coat of top coat to get a smooth, even finish. Removal, please save yourself some time and just go ahead with peel off base coat or soak it off. Moving on to Late Night Manny, this is a Blurple indigo base with a dainty gold yellow magnetic pigment plus some gold microflakes in the mix. Jeremy describes this Manny as celebrating the solitude of the hobby, those calm late nights painting by yourself and enjoying the process. And of course, to me this definitely gives like night sky and star vibes, especially with the gold microflakes in the mix. And then the gold magnetic shimmer on magnetized, it gives it a very edgy vibe for me, in the sense that the Blurple is kind of covered up by the gold shimmer, so I kind of really like the vibe of it unmagnetized. Formula wise, this was very easy to work with. I didn't struggle with it, very self-leveling. There is brush strokes within the shimmers if you leave it unmagnetized, but otherwise I kind of have to really look for them. Removal process, I don't see this being hard to scrub off. However, I work with peel off, so to me it was very easy. I think you can see it more in the cat eye, but like the magnetic pole of this is very soft, at least when I compare it to other magnetics that I know have a much distinct and like harsher line, but it's not soft to where like you can't see it being fully magnetized, you know? My favorite magnetization style with this polish is the glass bead effect. I just really enjoy seeing the yellow kind of bounce around and then still being able to see the indigo base underneath along with the microflakes. Would you like some blue with a fart of green? Here we have blue with a fart of green. As the name suggests, it's blue with a little bit of green undertones going on. Now, Jeremy says this is a cerulean cream because he uses so many creams, especially in his nail art. And also cerulean is his favorite color. And apparently he had to make Tyler make a creme. Which, now thinking about it, has Tyler made cremes before, or is Tyler mainly like glitter galore? Any hoosies, this is a very simple formula. On the first coat, it gave great color payout. However, However, of course, it's still patchy, but the color payout's pretty nice. Something interesting about the formula is that 1, it dries down matte, and 2, it's not creamy like how Holo Taco cremes are. It's kind of like almost water-based. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it doesn't feel creamy, but it gives the coverage of a creamy creme, if that makes sense. Also, the self-leveling of this is very, very nice to work with. Easy formula, you know, easy removal, Papa John's. It's time for La Discoteca. This is a chrome base infused with the funkiness of square hollow, shredded hollow, and the grooviness of a silver hex glitter. So Jeremy describes this as celebrating the loud audacity of being yourself, breaking gender norms, joyful queerness, and just being extra. And boy, does this polish deliver. On the first coat, it was a little deceiving. I'm like, is the chrome base in the room with us? But because to me it just looked like a clear base with silver or white shimmer going throughout. But upon further inspection, hey, I did see some gray tint on the bare nail, so yeah, the chrome is with us. However, the chrome base is a gradual buildup. On the second coat, I could still see my bare nail picking through between the glitters, and even on the third nail, I could see it if I really like inspected. So it is in the room with us. She's just a little shy, okay? With it being packed with hollowness glitter, it is on the thicker side than previous shades. However, it was still very workable, and it wasn't difficult to apply at all. The self-leveling is no cap, honestly. This dry texture, so for me I needed 2 coats of top coat. But if you have a glitter smoother, then you'll be fine. But allegedly you still need to add a top coat, so honestly, what's the point? Just add 2 coats of top coat and you're good. Removal, why even bother? Like, don't even scrub it off. Just save yourself some time and peel off. You could do the soak off method, but you're gonna have a better time peeling it off. Rounding up the swatches, I have here Group Chat Glow, and this is a periwinkle or light purple, depending how spicy you're feeling. Curly base with aurora shimmers and iridescent flakes. Jeremy describes this as celebrating the joy of sharing polish with friends, online, in real life, and everywhere in between. The shimmers are a nice sprinkle of interest for me. It keeps me distracted and allows me to stare at my nails longer, so that's good. The base is very light and the buildup is very gradual. I would say 2 coats was my preferred amount, just because I like the lighter shade of purple on it. However, with the third coat, it did cover up the bald spots that I had on the second coat, and although I don't get like the see-through effect as much as I would like, the third coat did give me a multi-dimensional view of the shimmers with the flakes with each coat. The formula is not thick, it's also very workable, and self-leveling again, phenomenal. Removal, I still recommend peely, but that's just me. You can soak it off as well, and you could try to scrub it off. However, I feel like those aurora shimmers are really going to put up a fight. Despite it being flaky, it is not textured when it dries down. I still recommend a top coat to protect the polish on the nail. Yay, it's time for comparisons. So strap in, I don't have many. So up first, I have the Rainbow Connection, and hey, I don't have anything like this. For Late Night Manny, I have here Holo Taco's Moonlit Rodeo and Holo Taco's Phantom Call, because they're both purpley based. Phantom Call has that like yellowy shimmer going throughout. Moonlit Rodeo has more of a blue purple shimmer going about, and something that you can see here is that Late Night Manny has a much darker, deeper base. So not quite. And then I thought of comparing it next to Mooncat's Curiosity's Trap Unmagnetized and Mooncat's Deadly Nightshade. Now Curiosity's Trap is technically a blue and yellow magnetic, whereas Late Night Manny is an indigo and gold magnetic. Unmagnetized, they both look very different. For Deadly Nightshade, I thought maybe it could be close to Late Night Manny unmagnetized, but again, Late Night Manny is such a rich, deeper color. When in the cat eye effect, I feel that they kind of have the same premise of sorts, like a bluey shade underneath with the gold / yellow on top as the magneticness, right? Obviously they're very different, but something I do want to showcase here is the magnetic pull strength. As you can see, Late Night Manny is more on the softer side, like I said earlier, whereas Curiosity's Trap has a stronger, sharper line than Late Night Manny. So then I thought of comparing it next to ilnp's Grapevine and ilnp's Pyro. So Grapevine, I thought maybe third coat buildability of this acrylic could be similar to the purple or indigo of Late Night Manny. However, there's quite a difference here, right? And then Pyro, I thought maybe because it has the yellow orangey ships going about that somewhere in my mind it thought it was like similar. Clearly they're not. So then that got me thinking into what if I combined grapevine and pyro together to see if maybe I can get a similar vibe. So then I have here Holo Taco's Tanzanite Away and the combo of grapevine and pyro from ilnp. So similar reasoning for Tanzanite Away. I thought, hey, maybe that like purpley base might be similar to Late Night Manny Unmagnetized. However, the shimmers are very different. There's holo added to Tanzanite Away and it's more blue leaning purple of sorts, whereas Late Night Manny is more of a darker purple of sorts, at least unmagnetized. And then the combo here, I don't think it's anywhere near Late Night Manny. However, I do really like this combo and am saving it in my back pocket for the next time I paint my other hand. For blue with a fart of greed, I don't have anything like this actually. It's very unique amongst my collection. So the best I got here for y'all is Holo Taco's Shady Navy and Holo Taco's Board Meeting. It makes a great skittle, but like you can kind of tell how different blue with a fart of green is. It's one of those shades where the longer you keep staring at it, the more unreal it becomes in my mind. The best I can do, I feel, is ilnp's Adrian Unmagnetized. I feel like the tonality of blue is slightly there, just slightly there. Of course, there's shimmers or the blue magnetic particles in Adrian, but I feel like it's very close, you know. And then I have Bring Me the Teal here from Holo Taco, just as a comparison of how not teal this blue is. Like, it's legitimately a blue, but you can tell there's green in it. But it's not a teal. Like, it's not enough green to make it a teal. Next up, for Not a Face, a formula, I have here Holo Taco's Rider Diamond. And I just want to say, if you ever felt like you were missing out on Rider Diamond from Holo Taco, definitely get Not a Face, a formula. I think it looks better than the Holo Taco one. The square glitters in there definitely elevates it for me, makes it more sparkly and screams more diamond in my eyes. Like, the tone of silver is pretty much the same, and the main difference is the components within each of the formulas. I just find Holo Tacos to be a little lackluster compared to Not a Face. So yeah. Next up, for Group Check Glow, I have here Holo Taco's Lo-Fi Lavender and Holo Taco's Peri-Social. Lo-Fi Lavender is technically described as a lavender, but like, I felt maybe they could be similar. Of course they're not. And then Peri-Social is the other periwinkle in my collection. I think the first coat of Group Check Glow looks similar to the Peri-Social, but after you build it up some more, it gets much darker and I think it looks very different. Of course, there's like extra elements in Group Check Glow, you know. And then I started comparing it next to Holo Taco's Sky High and ilnp's Scrunchie. Now, Sky High is a blue jelly, so I just wanted to showcase how not blue leaning a periwinkle shade looks like, I guess. And then Scrunchie is more of a darker lavender shade, so of course very different all throughout. So then I thought of Mooncat's The Diabolical Mojo Jojo and Mooncat's Roar. So initially, when I first watched Group Chat Glow, I immediately thought of Mooncat's Roar because I felt like the iridescent flakes were very similar. The main difference is that Group Chat Glow has these extra shimmers going throughout. However, I failed to remember the shade and tonality of the purple that Roar has. And then the Diabolical Mojo Jojo, that was kind of like a stretch. I just wanted to see it next to each other kind of thing. But you can see here between two purples that Group Chat Glow kind of leans a little bit more blue, so it flip-flops. Alright, and that concludes my swatch and comparison portion of this video. So overall, I think the meaning, the messaging, and literally the collection itself is a great homage to the love of painting nails. And whether you do nail art or you just like to paint your nails with fun pretty colors and glitters and all that jazz, it's a perfect collection that embodies that messaging, and along with the meaning behind each polish that Jeremy says too. It's like, once he started sharing that, I'm like, oh, this is such a cute little collection. So yeah, I of course enjoy this collection for what it stands by, for what it means and everything. In terms of the color story, I don't think of it as a cohesive color story in a sense. Like, is it cohesive in the sense that it's blues and purples and then some fun colors added in the mix, like the silver and then the rainbow glitters? Yeah, of course. It's kind of giving the same vibes as the Holo Taco Bon Voyage collection, where the colors just were there for the theme of it all, you know. That's really my only gripe, and at the end of it all, I don't really care about color story too much. So yeah, not a bad collection, and of course you can't hate it for the meaning. Like, why would you? But anyways, thanks so much for watching, hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and even post on my community tab if you do any nails, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.